Hi guys, Jen here from Jen and Zoe, and I have teamed up with a good YouTube friend of mine, Elise from Elise Sheree. She is beautiful inside and out, so if you haven't checked out her channel, make sure you do so. And we have worked together to make the Raising My Child tag. We thought it'd be a really fun and interesting tag to do and find out how things differ around Australia and around the world in regards to raising a child. Elise and I worked together to come up with 10 different questions to give you an insight into what it's like raising a child in our particular areas of Australia. Make sure you do this tag so we can see how different things are for raising a child in your part of Australia or the world. Okay, so before I get started with the questions, if you're new to my channel, I currently have a 3-year-old, 3.5-year-old, almost 4, and a 15-month-old, so a 3 and a 1-year-old. Okay, so question number 1 is, what types of play/learning activities does your child love at home? So for the most part, we're not usually at home. We usually are out at play dates, outside, or playgroups. Yeah, but when they are at home, seeing as they have different ages, my 3-year-old, both of them love books. We do the Your Baby Can Read learning system, which is, I guess, sort of like a flashcard system approach to learning how to read. And they both love reading books, looking at the words. Alexandra is already picking up, who is my 1-year-old, is already picking up how to read words. Zoe's the same. Zoe can read simple books already, and she's 3. She's been doing that since she was 2. So they're the type of learning activities we do. Sometimes we do Play-Doh and other learning activities, usually blocks, whatever you see around here actually. They're the sort of basic, normal, everyday learning activities that we do. Question number 2 is, what time do you put your kids to bed and get them up? Does it have to do with the time the sun rises and sets in your area? Okay, so where we are is in Queensland, Australia, and the sun rises pretty early in the summer, around 4, goes down around 7. In winter it rises more around 6 and sets around 6:30. So yeah, I would say my kids do get up and down around the sunrise and set times. We had a lot of trouble with my first Zoe, so we learnt a lot about routine and structure, and we aim for the 7 to 7 rule with both kids, so putting them down before 7 and getting them up by 7. I definitely know that they wake up and they're happy to wait for us. They wake up a lot earlier in the summer, and in winter they definitely sleep in just that little bit longer. But yeah, so it sort of has to do with the sunrise set time, but we also had a lot of trouble, so that's why we're pretty routined. Question number 3 is, did you have your child or children in a public or private hospital, and were you happy with their service? So both my kids were born in a public hospital. It's pretty much the only one in the area that you can have a baby at. But we were definitely very happy both times. I can't really compare it to private, but I was more than happy with Zoe, my first. She was a lot of trouble. I had trouble breastfeeding. Our hospital stay, and it was public, was for 7 days. We stayed a whole week. I had trouble breastfeeding, and they were more than happy to help me. And then on top of that, she got a bit of jaundice and needed to go on the light bed, so that's why we stayed a bit longer too. But yeah, they were more than happy to help, and I had lactation consultants. I had my hands onto everything, and here in Australia, that is free with Medicare, which is our public health system. So my whole pregnancy with both of them was 100% free. I didn't pay for a doctor's visits, all the checks. Yeah, didn't pay for a cent. I think I paid for 1 ultrasound, but I only had 2, I think, both times. And yeah, everything else was free. And when you're in hospital after you have the baby, you know, they provide you with meals and help. And with Zoe was, again, very difficult newborn. I had trouble, and I came home, and within a few weeks I was still having a visit from the hospital every now and then from a lactation consultant, and she could see how much I was struggling, and she suggested to come back into hospital, and I stayed there for almost 2 weeks, and everything was provided, meals, help when I needed help with her. So definitely very happy with the service, and would do it again. I don't see a need for private in my area in Queensland, in Australia. Question number 4 is, what are mums groups or playgroups like in your area? For example, friendliness, cost and accessibility. So we go to a few different mums groups and playgroups, and I'd have to say it's a bit like any other area. When I first started going with my youngest, it was hard to break into the friend circles in this area. I haven't grown up in this area, I've only been here for about 5 or 6 years, and it was definitely sort of hard. It's like they're friendly, but they're happy to keep their own friends. I guess you might find that anywhere, but we found some good friends at some of these places, and like anything, I tried out quite a few different ones and soon found out which ones were more than happy and welcoming to new people, and which ones sort of were set in their ways. So we're definitely happy with that. Accessibility, there's quite a lot every weekday. You just have to really Google and look around to see what's around, but there's quite a lot in my area. And cost is about between $3 to about $5. That's the average cost of these play groups. Mums groups that are set up through the child health nurse and things like that, they are, it's just, it's free. If you just want to catch up with people, it's free. And so that's what it's like in my area. Question number 5 is the cost of living a factor in how many kids you and your partner want to have? Yes, I would say it does affect how many kids you want to have, but if you're talking about the difference between to us, it's more like, well, if you're going to have 1, 2's really not too much different. If you're going to have 2, 3's not too much difference. I think it's a factor in whether you have, say, a larger family, say like 4 or 5 kids plus, or whether you have a smaller family between 1 and 3 kids. Yes, definitely the cost of living is an issue, and even jobs and job availability. That is definitely an issue, but we're a bit undecided if we're going to have more or not, but I dare say it would only be 1 more if we do. Question number 6 is, what are council parks or play areas like where you live? For example, clean, fun, safe. So when I say parks, just open public places, or when I say council, I mean open public places. So they are excellent. There is so many around where I live. The temperature and climate here all year round is pretty good. It's just not so good when it's raining, but it's not really too cold in winter, and the summer can get a bit hot, but they are definitely clean, they're well maintained, definitely the ones I've been to and see, and they're fun for all ages. And safety, I have noticed in new developments in certain areas around the coast, they're safety wise, I don't know what's happened with the developments, but they've definitely gone more to the riskier type of play areas, like some of the climbing ladder things, net things. They're a lot higher and a lot bigger. They definitely have some pretty cool stuff for primary school age kids, but I wouldn't say they're so safe when they're younger. There's quite a drop of some of these, and I'd say also sometimes in these new developments where they have the play areas, the slides are either metal or plastic, and they can get quite hot when the sun comes in on a certain angle. But most of the parks and stuff here, they have shade sails, but of course the shade sails can't shade from the sun at all times of the day. But I'm definitely happy with, we have a lot of parks along near the beach, and I'm more than happy with a lot of them. You just pick and choose. Some of them are even fenced off, which is awesome, because obviously you need to keep your eye on your kid, but you can feel a bit more safer that they're not going to run off into the bush or onto a road or something like that if you put your, tie your shoelace up or something like that. Question number 7 is it easy to find childcare or babysitting in your area? So babysitting, I wouldn't know because I haven't used it. I know people sometimes put on local Facebook groups posts about babysitting, so I'm sure you could find it or Google it if you needed to. As for childcare, easy to find it. There's a moderate amount of childcare centres around where we live in Queensland, and I wouldn't say we're overrun with childcare centres. Sometimes it's harder to find centres that do babies, like under a year or a year and a half or 2 years. But if you can't find a centre, there is a lot of family daycarers on the coast here, and that's basically where someone takes kids and looks after them in their home. So if you can't find a childcare centre that way, then there's other options. So I'd say it's pretty easy to find one. Number 8 is, what is the average cost of childcare prior to school age? So in Australia here, the government helps out quite a bit. Can get a bit confusing. There's like childcare benefit, childcare rebate, all that. The basic way to explain it is the amount you get helped out is based off your income. I think if your family income's over 100 or 120,000 then a year, then I don't think you get any real extra help. You only might be entitled to the rebate, which is like it says 50% of the cost back, but it's not entirely 50% because the fees are structured. Hard to explain. But if you're, not a real super wealthy person, then you will get government help. Otherwise, it's all percentages and all the rest of it. So it means that basically real low income people can access childcare and it is a lot cheaper. But if you were to not have any government help, or you're not a citizen or whatever, you're not entitled to that, the flat cost around the area is around $75 to $85 a day per child, which is relatively cheap. I know city areas can be like $95 to $100 a day plus. So I'd say it's okay for Australia in terms of Australia. So question number 9 is, will you send your child or children to public school or private school, and why? So where I grew up in Melbourne in Australia, I went to Catholic primary school and high school, and I'd have to say growing up I feel like the public schools weren't as good down there. That was just my take on it. In the area I grew up in anyway. But as for our decision, I'm quite happy with the public schools here. I think they're excellent. We still haven't 100% decided which way we're going. If we do go public for primary school, I would like to go private for high school. I don't get a good feel for the high schools in the area that are public. So, but I think it depends on the kid too. And of course we aren't in a big busy city, so the costs of private schooling is cheaper, I think, from what I've looked at, than in city areas. So a little bit undecided, but I'm pretty happy with what I've seen so far in the public school system. Number 10 is, what's the best part about being a mum in the area you live in? I love it here. Like, again, this isn't the area I grew up in, but this area, like, we're right along the coast, right along the beach. The beaches are beautiful. It's not like rock beaches. They're nice sandy beaches, and the weather's great all year round. I'd have to say, the area I live in, it's the place. It's like, you've got great parks, you've got great outdoor stuff, you've got great beaches, the friendliness, and the fact that everything is close. Like, the furthest drive I have is like 15 minutes maybe, or 20 minutes. Most of the driving I do is like between 2 and 5 minutes. Like, I'm serious. Like, the shop's 5 minutes. Childcare and school's about 2-3 minutes. Like, everything is so close. So close the environment and the temperature around the year. It's like, yeah, summer can get hot, and it does get humid here in the summer. We have aircon. I have aircon going right now, which is why I'm wearing this. But yeah, I love this place. I could not rave on more about this place. It is beautiful, and it's such a it hasn't got the city hustle and bustle, but it's not quite country town either. It's great. Love it here, and yeah, everything is the best about being a mum where I live. So that's all the questions. So I hope you really enjoyed getting to know what it's like raising my child on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia. And I tagged 3 people to do it. I tagged Ash from Join the Jacksons. Really hope you do one of my tags one day. I know you're not really a tag person, but I'd love you to do this if you get a chance. And I tagged Crystal from Brought to You by Mum. I'd love to see your answers to this too. And I tag Erin from Erin and Baby. I'd also love to see your answers and what it's like for you where you live. And if I haven't mentioned you in the tag, I might tag your name in the comments in the comment section below, because there is so many more people I could rattle off names that I'd love to do this tag. And yeah, so have a look below. Even if I don't tag you, do it and let me know about it, because I'd love to hear your answers. Sorry guys, Alexandra just woke up, so she'll be in for the end of this tag. Ball, yeah. Anyway, we can't wait to see what your answers are, and don't forget to check out Elise's channel, Elise Sheree. I'll put the links below. She's a beautiful, beautiful friend, and yes, we came up with this tag together, so make sure you check out her channel and her tag video below as well. Thank you so much guys, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys for our next video. Bye!